Right. Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining this morning's session. We're going to be running a Copilot for Microsoft 365 demo, or M365 Copilot, as some of us refer to as. I'm joined by Sean Taylor, who is going to be taking the vast majority of this session as our guru on this and has been doing lots of testing. Sean and I have been very lucky to have the only 2 licenses for Copilot for Microsoft 365 in the UK. So yeah, we're hoping to share with you what we've learned today. Please ask any questions as we go along in the chat, and we'll get to those either as we go along or at the end, dependent on whether they need both of us to answer or not. So you all probably know me. I'm the business manager looking after Microsoft CSP Modern Work, and I'm joined by Sean Taylor, who is our solutions architect. Another one joining.
Yeah. Barry, go and have a word with yourself or read the chat. It's just after the session is going to be recorded. I don't know whether that's a Mickey take. I nearly swore then.
So the agenda for today, you can see we're covering quite a lot today on the session, but we're going to take you through lots of features that are included within Copilot for Microsoft 365, and then we'll move on to show you things like prompt engineering as well.
Debs, you're still showing the landing page. You're not showing the slides have not moved on.
Interesting.
Or they've not moved on for me.
Go back and go forward.
No, I'm still seeing the landing page. All right, okay. Maybe
it's just moved on now? Okay.
Not for me.
Still not for you.
All right.
Are people saying it's moved on for them?
Yep, they're fine. So that's fine.
Interesting. The joys. I'm sure your system will catch up in a bit.
Yep.
Hopefully. Right, well, everybody else can see the agenda slide, which is great. And you can see a list here. I'm not going to read every item. We're covering a lot of things today, but basically we're going to show you how this thing works. So next step for me is to hand over to Sean.
Awesome. So you stop sharing?
I will stop sharing.
Awesome. Okay, so morning everyone. Hopefully you've turned up to learn about Copilot as opposed to potentially watch me resign spectacularly online live in front of several hundred people, because this demonstration is done in our live production environment. We have no access to a demonstration environment. As Debs has said, myself and her have been part of the TD Synnex Worldwide Copilot for 365 Early Adopters Program. Bit more detail on that to come. But what I want to do to start off with is reference a bit of the architecture of what actually gets created. So back in November when Microsoft launched this, obviously there was a 300 seat minimum commitment for 1 year. And that for me was understandable when you see what Microsoft have to actually add in to the end customer's environment in order to power Copilot. And then obviously last week we've had the announcement that it's now available through CSP, and effectively the minimum seat count is 1. I wouldn't recommend adding a single seat, but some people are doing. So what I'm going to start off with is this is a sample Copilot architecture, but for every customer that buys a Copilot license for 365, this is the architecture that is being built in order to power that solution. So when Microsoft are charging, 1 seat at $360 for the year, that has to pay for or somebody has to pay for this. This is what's powering that solution. So when it was a 300 seat minimum, I could understand that because there's an awful lot of stuff in here required to make Copilot work. So interestingly, last week, the minimum seat count, the fact that there isn't one, took us quite by surprise because I fully expected there to be a minimum seat count, because how is this being paid for? Okay, so that's point number 1. Point number 2 is there are lots of Copilots. And what we are here today to talk about is everything between, if we look at that as a clock, everything between 9 o'clock and midday. So 9 and 12. The stuff over here, so this is the operating stuff. So yeah, there's going to be Copilots over here. In fact, Sabs is even telling me that there's a Copilot for Spotify. Then there's other Copilots, so Defender, OneNote, Power BI, GitHub. Then there's the one that you can all use free of charge on the web. Apologies, this graphic has not been updated. It's no longer called Bing Chat Enterprise. So we're interested in this bit over here. Copilot for 365, Copilot Labs, the Office applications, the chat, the plugins, Microsoft Graph, and then some of the extensions. So this is specifically what we're talking about today. And when myself and Debs were onboarded onto the early adopters program, we had to commit to attend a weekly meeting. And in that weekly meeting, we were given tasks, we were given exercises to complete. And then the following week, we would feed back on that. We actively had to use the product. It wasn't something that was just made available to us and use it or don't use it. We were actively made to do things, and over the time frame, we've done quite a lot of testing. But this was the one for me that particularly stood out, and this is something that I've seen Microsoft deliver, albeit not live with recordings. So there are 8 scenarios. So start your day in Outlook. So save time summarizing email using Copilot, then using Microsoft 365 chat in order to find stuff, then reviewing documents. So using Copilot in Word in order to help you get key pieces of information out of what could be quite long documents, helping you respond or create emails. Then we've got 2, generate new content. So generating new content with Word and also generating new content from PowerPoint. We've then got the data analysis. So that's using Copilot within Excel. And then the final one was you're late to a meeting and you need Copilot, or you weren't able to attend a meeting and you want Copilot to catch you up. So specifically for today, we've designed a demonstration basically of those scenarios. So the common tasks that your users will use Copilot to help them with. Okay, so I'm just going to close that one, and then we're going to open Word. So what I've done is I've taken that and I have turned it into a Word document. But there's a couple of caveats that I want to walk you through first of all, and those are the fact that although myself and Debs are part of this TD Synnex Worldwide Adopters Program, we are users. I have no back-end admin access to any of the Copilot administration admin blades. That's all managed by TD Synnex's corporate IT. I have a bad enough reputation with them as it is without wanting to make that any worse. So from a demonstration point of view, I can only show you an end user experience. I can't show you any of the admin screens because I simply have no access. But as part of that onboarding process into the early adopters, we were made aware of known issues, and these are bulleted in this list, and I have tested them rigorously over the months that we've been doing this, and I've got some commentary with regards to those issues. So first of all, in reality, in order to get the best out of Copilot, you have to be on the new version of Teams and you have to be on the new version of Outlook, although Outlook has subsequently changed. But there are potential issues with inaccurate presence indicators in both Teams and Outlook. That is a problem that I encounter. In fact, last week I had my out of office on, yet Teams was showing me as green and as available. because we're using the new version of Outlook, certain features are not yet in that particular product. So things like in the old version of Outlook, there's a button for reporting suspicious email. You can also attach an Outlook item to a email. So you might want to attach an email that you've already sent as an attachment. That doesn't work. When we first started using the product, Copilot only worked in Word using the online version rather than the desktop app. That's now been fixed. There's missing functionality again between Outlook and Office apps. So for those of you who take attachments to emails and drag and drop them into things like OneNote, that's still an ongoing issue. The ability to toggle between Teams Classic and Teams New, that's still an ongoing issue. Copilot only works with the new version of Outlook. That's no longer the case. That's been fixed, and it does actually work with the old version of Outlook. But probably the biggest thing is that Copilot for Excel is still not generally available. It's still preview. So even though we've been using this product and Microsoft have been selling it since back end of November, the version of Copilot that exists in Excel is not the full release version of the product, and therefore there may be inconsistencies and at times it be unavailable, and we have experienced that. So therefore the Excel demonstration is either going to be non-existent or it's going to be incredibly brief today. Okay, so those are the notes before we start and the known issues that we have sort of like been dealing with since our adoption onto the program. So quick note, if I'm going to use Copilot specifically for meetings, it's a really good idea to the fact that the transcript is enabled as a bare minimum or recording. So I've got a note to remind myself to make sure that the meeting transcription is enabled, but as this is being recorded, transcript is automatic, so I don't need to necessarily remember how to do that. And then I've basically created myself some notes about what I need to do in order to be able to show you the various different scenarios that I brought up on the graphic earlier on. So we're simply going to walk through these and do a live demonstration. None of this is recorded, none of this is pre-canned. Yes, it can encounter problems. I've done 3 dry runs of this with our internal, and it's not necessarily worked in every single instance every single time. Okay, however, without the aid of a safety net, we're going to try something that I was going to do at the end, but we're going to try it now. So I'm going to go into PowerPoint. I'm going to use the TD Synex corporate PowerPoint template. I'm just going to select all of those and delete it. In my top right corner, I've got Copilot. And one of the things that I can do is I can get it to create a presentation. Now, when you are dealing with creating a presentation from a file, you can use the share name. So if you go into OneDrive or SharePoint, right click, share, get the URL, you can paste it into here. Alternatively, what you can do is you can use the slash and then start typing the name of the file. So if I do TD, this will probably upset Sabs because she wants it all in capitals. Microsoft. Can you see how the files are changing? So it's starting to, and this is all to do with indexing, and I'll explain indexing a little bit later on. So that is the Word document that I'm currently using. I would also like it to use stock images from the gallery. Now, this is really risky because I'm actually trying to create something from a file that is already is open, and OneDrive might be trying to sync up. So it might not necessarily work, but so far we're not doing too bad. So these are the points that it's trying to generate. So it's reading the document, it's trying to create me an agenda, and then once it's creating an agenda, it's going to attempt to create some slides. We should have some dramatic music or something like that, Debs, while we're waiting for it to build stuff out. So yeah, there'll be a bit of dead time as well today. So that's doing that. So I've not tried this before. This was something that came to me first thing this morning. in the drive to Warrington, and you can see from there that has created 14 slides. I'm going to come back to that later on, but I just wanted to, try something off the cuff to prove that, this is live. So we're going to go back to our demo scenarios, and we're going to start the day in Outlook. So your boss includes you in a long email thread and asks you to act. Again, the demos are delivered through TD Synex's production environment. Therefore, there are some things I simply cannot show you because I don't know what Copilot's going to come back with. And obviously, as I've already said, I don't really want to resign spectacularly live in a webinar. So if I ask it to summarize all of my emails that have been received today, I don't know what that's going to show you. And obviously, we don't want to show people stuff that they shouldn't be able to see. So what I've done is I've already preloaded a folder that I've already created in Outlook that's got stuff in it. Okay, so if we take our bottom email and I just build this out, so it's not a massively long email train. I'm in it, Debs is in it, Ian's in it, Dan's in it. But as soon as I do that, when Copilot is injected into your environment, various little prompts appear in various different locations. So in this email, I've got a little button that says summary with Copilot, and that appears in every single email that I have. So what I can do is I can scroll all the way down to the bottom and read it back top to bottom if I want, or what I can do is get Copilot to summarize that so that I don't necessarily have to do it. Now, it's not necessarily going to give you 100% correct 100% of the time, but it'll do a damn good job. So this is all about our TD Mobile department trying to buy some HoloLens licenses for demonstrations to resellers, and Dan's asking about what he needs and who's going to pay for it. Okay, so what I do want to do is I want to move on to a slightly longer one. So this is a bit of a monster, takes place over a period of about a month, and it's all to do with an issue. So if I just go to the latest version of that and then ask Copilot to summarize it for me. So this actually references the name of a reseller. I have emailed said reseller and had permission for their name to be visible in this demonstration before anyone starts getting onto the GDPR police. So this is a pretty long email thread. And this is to do with a failed click to run, where we identified that there were multiple problems with it, and it related to an issue with GDAP relationship. There was an issue with a conditional access policy, and there was an issue with a country code. But effectively, this email chain, which is incredibly long, there you go, just to scroll to prove it, lots of screen grabs, has been summarized into 5 lines. Okay, I don't think I'm going to do any more of that, but there you go. So that is, in effect, start your day. So that summary, Copilot summary, exists in every single email. So if you ever get, copied in or forwarded on a very long email chain and you don't want to scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can get Copilot to summarize that for you. So we'll just close that one up. The next one is search for answers. Now I'm going to do this in 2 different places. So to start off with, I've got the web. So this is Copilot in Bing that you can all use. But because I have a Copilot license, I have this toggle. Okay, so if you don't have a Copilot license, there won't be an option here. It'll just be web. So this is where I could use it, and that's that Copilot I showed you in the graphic a little bit earlier on. But if I toggle that to work, that's now looking internally. That's now looking at our internal stuff, and we get sort of some hints with regards to what I might want to ask it. The same thing appears. So again, I've had to pop this out into a window so that you don't see my actual Teams client, but there is actually a Teams app for Microsoft 365 chat. And if I bring up those and then toggle between the two, you should be able to see that they're pretty much identical. Okay, so not really fussed which one you want to use. Either one is fine. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pick some random stuff from here. So do we have any information whatsoever about the Microsoft incentive program for FY24. Now, I'm technical. I don't care about stuff like this. This is more sales related, but I do get asked that question, and I have no idea where I might need to go and find that relevant information. So, according to this, it's giving me a nice little summary, and then you'll see that there are 3 references. And if I actually click on the drop down, I can look at the information. So it might be I want to look at the clinic, I might want the preview, or I might want the commerce intensive. So let's pick that one. You'll see that there was a range of sources there, from PDFs to PowerPoints. There could be a Word document. So this is taking me to CSCP, indirect providers, FY24, partner incentives, and co-op. So I had no idea what the file name was. I just asked Copilot a question with regards to, do we have information about the incentive program for FY24? And it came back with those results and that information. Okay, now I'll tell you how that gets created a little bit later on. So let's go back to our Word document. Let's have another one to do with the whatever Microsoft have renamed the partner program to be. So I'm going to do this one in the Microsoft Chat app. So again, paste that one. Again, I'm not doing any prompting here. I'm not pointing it at a file. I'm just asking it to go, have we got anything? Okay, so how many hours of a day do you lose trying to find stuff that you thought was called a particular thing and lived in a particular place, only to find out that that's not necessarily the instance for that particular one. So again, it's giving me some really good information. And again, if I expand that, I've got a Word document, 2 PowerPoint presentations. So I might want to look at the clinic. So let's click on that one. And again, it's going to open it. And I'm going to be able to look through that particular one. In fact, that's actually, wow, that's actually high up. That's from, so Shelley's works in Canada. So she's at a global level. So it's found some pretty good stuff. So I've used both of the chat clients in order to be able to deliver that. One thing that did drive me mad, so this is actually a real case scenario before I actually got Copilot. I had a partner that was asking me for, they want to nominate somebody for a Microsoft solution assessment, and we have a form that and every man and his dog that knew where that form was either off ill, on holiday, or whatever, and I couldn't find this to save my life. So if I'd have had Copilot, I'd have been able to go, all right, brilliant, where's that solution nomination form? It's there's the Word document. In fact, that was updated by Mr. Keeler a couple of last week before, something like that. Let's go back to the results. What did it tell me? Revised 4th of January. So that was revised 20 days ago. When I did this first demonstration, it came up with the old version of the file. So that must have been done in between. So we've been able to use some really good stuff. I can also do some other stuff. So what I can do with this is, this will be interesting to see what we got. I don't think we put anything particularly. There was a very long conversation about some calf in Basingstoke yesterday while I was doing a webinar. So this is the chat that myself and the 3 other members of the, there you go. So this is summarising. Obviously, we do talk about work stuff, honestly, but apparently, if you're in Basingstoke, the street bait shop is the place to go. Who knew? But you could do this on return from illness, on return from being out of the office for a period of time, on holiday, whatever it is. Can you provide me with a summary of what's new in a particular Teams chat? What's new in Outlook? And again, I can't show you that because I don't know what Copilot's going to come back with. But if anybody is in the Basingstoke area and lives near Chinham Park, then it's probably worthwhile going to the street bait shop. I can't remember the next time I'm in Basingstoke, but maybe we'll go and visit that when we do. And also, what we can do is we can actually get it to create stuff based on other files. So this is actually a PowerPoint presentation. You notice I'm not telling it it's a PowerPoint presentation. I'm not actually giving it a PPTX extension. I'm basically saying, can you give us a draft and FAQ from this file? Now, I've not used the backslash, so hopefully it can find it. So it's looking for the file. To be fair, this failed yesterday. I had to put the file name in. Okay, right, brilliant. So it's found the file. It's telling me the subject and the body, and this is the FAQ. So what I could do now is I could copy that. I could go to Word, create a new document, and paste that in there. Again, it's not necessarily going to give me 100% what I need 100% of the time, but what it will do is it will give me 80-90% of the stuff 80 to 90% of the time. So it gives me, for me, my most valuable commodity, which is time. You know, do I want to spend time doing that, or do I want to get 80-90% of the way there and then just edit it, you know, so that I can produce content much more quickly. So that is our search for answers, which was scenario 2. Our next one is to review a document. So I've got a Word document. This Word document is from Microsoft, and it's all to do with something that is incredibly relevant to your customers' Copilot adoption, which is enhancing security with Microsoft 365 Business Premium, a hands-on effective guide. And I believe this is about 30 odd pages long. Notice it's opened it on, in fact, what I'm going to do while I'm talking is I'm also going to get it to open it on the desktop app as well. So that's opening the desktop app. Let's go back to the web version, continue here. So it'll load it again. And I just want to prove that I can do both in both places. So wait for that to load. 20. 34 pages. So do we want to read 34 pages? No, because time's important. So within the online version of Word, and this is true of all the applications, there's a Copilot button. And again, if I go to Word and I open that and I go to Copilot, and you should again see that these are exactly the same. And you can see that I've been, you know, asking it questions, you know, but what I can do is I can go summarize this document. So this is reading the content, and it's going to pick out the key action points from this document. So in here, it basically says the main ideas are the guide, this guide's purpose and scope, then the onboarding checklist for security, the identity protection checklist, the email and app protection checklist, the endpoint enrollment and protection checklist, the data protection checklist. And again, I can copy that, and I can look at the references. So this is pulling out where Copilot pulled that information from. We could expand on the main points of the summary. We could include more detail in the summary. I can then ask it questions. So does this doc have any calls to action? And it's all contextual. So, you know, in the context of the question and answer stream, it understands the fact that I don't have to then give it the file name again or so on and so forth. Once I've referenced something, it actually knows what context that question, what subsequent questions relate to. So it's having a look, and okay, according to this, yes, the document does have calls to actions. It provides links to learn more about topics discussed, such as latest information on SB security guide and a checklist from the guide. It also provides an email address for feedback and suggestions. Awesome. What's the reference to that one? Does it actually give us an email address? No, it doesn't give us an. Oh, hang a minute. Does it give us somebody's email address? No, it doesn't give us somebody's email address. That'd have been really handy if we could have emailed somebody at Microsoft. It then also gives us other suggested questions. So what's the purpose of this document? So I don't know, let's give that one a go. And again, I could ask these questions again. So let's do summarize this doc. So that's in the desktop app rather than the web client. And again, I'll leave them going so that we haven't got quite so much dead time. But anything that we download, we can get Copilot to provide help with. So the purpose of this guide is to offer a practical recommendation and insight for small businesses to secure their workload environment. And this is all based on prompts. So we'll talk a little bit about prompt engineering later on, but this is like learning to search the web again. So what Microsoft have done, have gone, oh, well, what you might want to do, if you're creating something, you might want to write a project proposal, add a paragraph, draft a business plan, write an intro paragraph for this document, create a high-level overview. So that's creating, or we might want to understand it. So tell me more about, summarize, list the pros and cons. What are the, who are the key stakeholders? Or we can ask, how do I give me specific examples in this document, how I can improve, make it more casual, make it more formal, make it longer, make it shorter. So that is what, when you hear Microsoft refer to as prompt engineering, that's what they're referring to. And again, if I go back to the Word document over here, oh, there you go, that's it. So I'm going to ask it to summarize it again. So you'll see that it's not 100% accurate 100% of the time because something went wrong. Please try again in a moment. Just wet me whistle. So we've asked it to summarize the document again. Suspenseful music. And there you go. Okay, so if we go back to our scenarios, we have reviewed a document and basically asked a load of questions of it. So the next one is replying to email. Okay, so either replying to email or generating email. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to create a sales email outlining the benefit of the TD Synnex Cloud Express service. And for reference, it's going to use this PDF. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my Copilot folder and I'm going to go new email. And when I go to new email, you always get the draft with Copilot. So if I select draft with Copilot, I'm going to ask it my question and then I've got my little drop down. Okay, so what tone do you want? So I can make it direct, neutral, casual, formal. God alone only knows who came up with the idea to make it a poem. I more than likely will want to punch them in the face. So let's go casual and medium and then generate. Should we have a poll, Debs, to see if who wants me to create a poem of it?
I can definitely see if I can set that up for you, Sean, if you want.
So based on some general Copilot stuff and the information that's in that PDF, I hope this email finds you well, having a great day. No, I don't, because I don't really care. I'm writing to you as a Microsoft Solution Architect, TD Synnex, leading distributor, These are the key points. Are you interested? So on and so forth. Now, if you're not, if you weren't happy with that, you could basically click the question. The question's still there and we can change the options. So this might be formal and long, for example, and then generate that one. I'm assuming everybody wants the poem option, so I'll do that third. Actually, we tested this internally other day on something else, and Megan's poem was brilliant. Steve's was slightly less brilliant. So this is using the casual and long format. So this is what it's created, and again, I can toggle between them if I wish to do so. And then I can go back to that one again and tell you what, let's do a short poem. God knows why. Okay. To share with you Sue that's truly smart. Don't even rhyme. Hassle, trouble, TD. Yeah, not sure about. So I obviously am not a fan of the poetry. So I'm going to go to version number 2. I'm going to tell it to keep it. And we've drafted that with Copilot, but in Outlook, we've also got Copilot button. And after you've drafted it, you can coach with Copilot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Copilot to look at the email that I've created and provide me with some insights regarding what I've actually typed. And those insights are divided up into 3 areas. They're divided up into tone, reader sentiment, and clarity. So tone, the email has a positive and friendly tone, but it sounds too pushy and promotional. Instead of "don't miss the chance," the email could say, "I hope you take advantage of this offer," or "I invite you to try this out." And again, if we wanted, we could hit regenerate. If we look at reader sentiment, the email shows the writer cares about the reader's cloud needs, but it could also acknowledge the challenges or pain points the reader might have. The email could start, blah, 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 blah. Clarity. The email provides a lot of information and benefits about Cloud Express, but it could be shorter and clearer to avoid overwhelming the reader. Consider using bullet points or numbered lists to break down the features of the Cloud Express product. And again, if we wanted to, we could hit regenerate, get it to make some changes, and then we could keep those changes or not, as the case may be. But it does very much help you respond, and particularly if you're using the coaching learns your style. Okay, so that is quite a useful one to use, particularly if you are writing emails quite a lot, like I do. Copilot thinks that I'm cold and unfeeling, so it absolutely 100% has my number. So, sorry. I haven't closed that one up. So reply to emails we've just done. So the next one we're on to generate new content. So for that one, I'm going to go to Word. So I just want to close that one. And if we go back to, oops, sorry, wrong one. If we go back to there and do File, New, and Document, I could use a template if I could be bothered, but there's too many clicks. And again, what I'm going to do, this time you'll notice I've actually told it it's a PPTX file. So what I'm trying to prove here is you can use any combination. I've got a URL coming up with a bit of luck. So we go back to our blank document, and again, because it's blank document, Copilot's automatically loaded and gone, describe what you want to do. So in there, I want to create a webcast script that summarizes the key points of this PowerPoint presentation. So generate. And again, I could have done this on the online version if I'd wished to do so. I think I might close my email while we're waiting. Get rid of that because that's rubbish. Well, no, it wasn't too bad. The poem was rubbish. So there's about 16, 17 slides in this slide deck. So this is a webinar script, a brief over of the ION platform. It asks me to insert my name, my role, and then basically breaks this down into sections. We've got an introduction, we've got the platform, we've got the benefits, still creating content, so we can actually watch it do that. Ooh. Awesome. Please change your description or try again. So again, it's not 100% working 100% of the time, so it's done a reasonable job. I might give that one more go though, so let's close that one. Don't save. File, New, Document, and paste. And let's see what it does. Let's go back to our scenario. So that's doing that. The next one is creating a presentation. So I'm just going to close that one. And let's go back to our Word document. And okay, so it's building it. Notice this is slightly different this time. So the formatting slightly different. What is Stream 1 Ion? Why use it? How to get started? And then a conclusion. So again, might not necessarily be. What we could do is we could keep it, we could regenerate it, we could ask it a new question, we could make it more formal, we could make it more direct, we could make it more casual, we could make it longer, we can make it shorter, depending on what we wanted to do. So get rid of that one. And then we'll go to PowerPoint. So I was actually going to do a slightly different one, but I've changed my mind in the fact that, so the Word document was open. So this is this Word document, and the Word document was open, and this was the first thing I did. And I told it to create a presentation using that demo script, using stock images from the gallery. It then said, right, based on that Word document, I think these are the key points. Here's a draft of 14 slides. Okay, so and it recommends using Designer in order to change stuff. So we've got our demo script, so probably not a great landing page. We probably want to change the layout on that one. We've then got our agenda, which is what you should have seen earlier on when Deb showed you the agenda page. We've got the notes before we start. Demonstration scenarios might not necessarily be a great one. We might want to change that. Start the day in Outlook. Okay, slightly different format to some of the other stuff. So again, we might want to change the format. We've then got search for answers, review documents, reply to emails, generate new content. Right, I've got 2 keyboards. I'm not happy with the graphics. So slide 9, please. I don't know why I'm telling it please change image, please change, yeah. Image, any suggestions? Please change image. Oh no. Any suggestions? Generate new content to creating something new. I don't know. This is on the fly, by the way. This is not scripted. I'm off piste. Okay, yeah, it'll work. Yeah. You notice it's also changed the slide layout. Create a presentation, quite like that one. Analyze data, again, quite like that one. Late to a meeting, maybe not. Final task is doing that one, and then I've got some supplemental information. So I'm really happy that it's created me some stuff, and I might want to change the images in the gallery. So again, not necessarily going to give you 100% of the time. And again, in this one, I told it to create a presentation using the share name. So again, we've used different things in order to create it. Analyzing data, so Excel, sample. Okay, so Copilot. First of all, preview. Secondly, go back to there. Right. Secondly, select data in an Excel table. So the content that Copilot can work with has to be in a table format. Okay, so I don't know, if we take that top one, think format as table, bang, we'll go with that one. Okay, right, now Copilot can work. Highlight, sort, filter. You'll see that the look and feel is completely different. The prompts are slightly different, and it comes up with inconsistencies for me. The highest value is consumed quantity, bold the first column, so on and so forth. So still a work in progress with Excel, I'm afraid. Let's close that one. And then late to a meeting. So again, I've had to actually open the meeting. So this is our Centre of Excellence in Europe. We have a monthly technical webinar where they run through different products. So I'm going to go back to the one on the 12th of December, which I was unable to attend at the time due to a conflict in meeting. So key topics. So Tiago was actually in the meeting, and using the transcript and the recording, he asked Copilot to summarize that meeting before the meeting finished. I then went in, as you can see, that meeting finished at 4 o'clock. This is 20 minutes later. I then went into the meeting using the Copilot option on the side and went, provide me with a summary or recap this meeting. Okay, you'll see that they're similar, but they're not exactly the same. Okay, I can also do, so again, if you are on holiday and come back, you can go to a particular chat and you can go, give me the highlights from the past 7 days. So I requested them to do one of the next sessions on internet access and private access. And David reckons he can do that, which is ace. So if you're unable to attend the meeting or you need to be caught up with the meeting, you can basically go, recap this meeting. It might ask me which meeting because there's been another one since that meeting. So let's see what it comes up with. and hopefully it should give me some information with regards to what took place. You can also ask it to summarize. Ooh, yeah, hibernation. Love hibernation in Azure VMs. Alex went through that with us last month. You can ask it, are there any actions from the meeting? Apart from I can't type. Well, type, spell. I put it down to fat fingers and a dyslexic keyboard. Yeah, so there's no actions from that particular meeting. Okay. So let's go back to our Word document. So that was the late to me. So those are all of our scenarios. My final task, which is what I had this morning, is the one that I actually did first. I've then got supplemental. So supplemental prompt engineering. So you'll notice that as and when I've been doing this, and let's do a new chat. As and when I've been doing this, I've either typed my own stuff or at certain instances I've used the prompts, and this is what Microsoft refer to as prompt engineering. So every time you open it, you get a certain number of prompts, but you can also view prompts, and I can categorize the prompts. So in this one, do you want to catch up? Do you want to create? Do you want to ask? Or what you can do is you can go to the source, which is the Copilot Labs. So this will open a browser, it'll log me in, it'll make sure that I've got a Copilot license, and then it will show me my prompts. So it will allow me to filter by applications, and then it'll allow me to filter by category. So I might want to be interested in catching up, and I might want to be catching up in Teams. So these are all the prompts, and I can click and go summarize, recap the topics of this meeting. So this is trying to help the users use Copilot in a constructive way. So anything that you hear Microsoft say prompt engineering, that's possible. When I use the web version, you remember that I could toggle web to work and work to web. When I use the one that's embedded in Teams, logic dictates that is internal content only. However, if I use the plugin, I've got the ability to toggle the use of web content on. Okay, so not only will that look internally, but it would also look on the web as well. So that's that. Indexing, so that's hyperlinked. Hopefully it's taking us, where's it going to take us? So that's going to take us to the relevant part. So indexing, this is all powered by indexers. In fact, there are two indexers. There's a personal index, which is all of my stuff from OneDrive, Teams, Outlook, so on and so forth. But there's also an index for SharePoint. And what we have to be careful of is new documents that are added to SharePoint, online sites that are accessible via site inheritance by 2 or more users are indexed daily. So I add something today that might not be usable by Copilot until tomorrow. Okay. Again, because I've got no admin access, I can't go in and I can't check this. So I don't know, what time, whether I can kick it, whether that happens on a default schedule. Can I change that schedule? So indexing is a big thing. And some of the problems that we encountered in the early days was the fact that yes, our OneDrive and personal stuff was indexed, but our SharePoint was nowhere near indexed. It does say that you can actually go and find indexing in setup within 365 Admin Center, and there's an insights and something else report that you can actually. But I obviously I can't log in and I can't check that. So indexing, massive thing. And then supplemental to that, I've got some YouTube stuff from Microsoft that could be useful for you guys to use. So that is everything I wanted to show, and the fact that we also now have a PowerPoint presentation based on it. So at this point, I'm going to stop presenting. I'm sure there's a plethora of questions.
It's been a bit insane. I've never typed so fast in my life, but then I did also use Copilot within Bing to get answers as well, because it's quicker and I can copy paste, trying to keep up with all the questions. I'm hoping that we got to lots of them. If there's anything missed, then guys, you can please flag it. Conscious of time, Sean, one of the key things that's come up time and time again is security concerns.
Yeah. So bear with me a sec, because I just need to bring this up. So Copilot respects your role-based administrative controls that are already in place, your labeling, your DLP, your AIP. It's all about making sure that those are already in situ. So, zero trust is absolutely something that should be adopted by all customers, as far as I'm concerned. There is a specific link that I am struggling to find at this moment in time. Just bear with me whilst we fill for time horrendously. So bear with me. I can't remember who I sent it to, so just hang on. But there is something I do want people to use. Oh, I know where it is. Just right, let me bring this up. Right, and then I'll reshare my screen. Where's the meeting? There's a meeting. Share screen and share and minimize. And so Copilot. So first of all, you've got all this lot. Step one, define your strategy, and what we've been providing the same commentary as Microsoft has since the announcement back at Ignite. I appreciate Microsoft caught us with his trousers down last week with the announcement, but we've been talking about readiness and zero trust in 365 and least privilege. That's nothing new. That's something that is good practice, whoever you are. So the recommendation is basically working your way through these processes. So define your strategy, develop your skills, and then operationalization. There you go, and go to market. And a lot of these is all around security. However, I believe Microsoft 365 Admin Center Copilot guided setup. Is it that one? Okay, so if your customer buys licenses for Copilot, there is a Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft. There's too many Microsofts in there. Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365 setup guide, and there is a guided setup where it walks you through things that you should be aware of and what you should be doing. So we've got how are you deploying your enterprise applications? Are you using Purview information protection? What are you using for Enter ID? What's going on with OneDrive? How are you using Outlook? How are you using Teams? Loop? Semantic Index for Copilot is an add-on that you can use in order to make it better. But it is automatically included. I can't necessarily sign that one in. Then there's the licenses. So we've got from there. Then there's the email announcement. I don't think, it's not going to show me the email announcement because it won't do it. And then, so along with the sort of like the best practices guide that goes with this, there is a guided setup that you can use. So we strongly recommend that you do that. But good security is good security, irrelevant of whether you're using Copilot or not, for me. So it's something that we should be doing, obviously royal we, as a matter of course. But have your customers got the right SharePoint role-based administrative controls in place and permissions for people to access content? Because our partners at AvePoint have got a really good product that can help you with this process, and they did a webinar before Christmas, and on that webinar there's an anecdotal story from a project with London Fire Brigade who had implemented Copilot as part of the early adopters, and they were seeing whether or not it would actually provide them with data that they shouldn't have access to. So they searched the chief fire officer and his divorce papers came up. Obviously, that's not a good thing. You know, good security is good security. Don't know whether I've got time to do this, Debs. We'll do one more because this could be my resignation in one go. Share. Right. So I'm using the that one. So this is Microsoft 365. Hopefully people know. Tell me, Simon. Spell his name right. Now, I do things like this quite regularly. I've been testing our security in order to find out whether we've got stuff that we've got access to that we shouldn't have. It looks like we've done an excellent job of actually implementing this. However, every time I type that in, there's a good chance I go. So somebody on a Microsoft call last week said that there is a report in Copilot that allows you to look for people that are trying to find stuff that they shouldn't be able to access. So that's my standard one. It does understand who he is. Oh no, sorry, I need to do a new chat because it's shut me down. Hopefully he's not on the webinar. So again, that's looking internally. So it absolutely understands who that person is, even knows who he reports into. But at no point is it going to let me access. So it's respecting all of the security settings that we have implemented. And obviously the concern with the indexing process is that if that security has not been implemented well for your customer, that it will surface information that shouldn't be accessed by those people. But you know, and I'm constantly asking our corporate IT team, can you provide us with a best practice guide? What did you do in order to get to where we are for us to onboard this? And I'm still waiting for that piece of information to come through. But without any back-end admin access, I can't get at that. I can't do it. But there is a guided setup that will help you, and there is the web page that I showed earlier on. Okay. Hopefully that answers that. Apologies, that was a very long-winded answer.
That's okay. I'm conscious of time. We're actually over the hour now. So there's lots and lots and lots of things to learn about Copilot for M365. Remember, Copilot is not just Copilot. It's actually a collection of over 100 things. So be specific on what you're asking when you say Copilot. To help partners upskill, we have been doing and are continuing to doing over the next 6 months, running CSP Masters, which is very Copilot orientated. This is day one sales or commercial training, the business opportunity around the Microsoft 365 stack, including Copilot. And then days 2 and 3 are hands-on technical scenario-driven labs, which are well worth attending. So we've already done Manchester and Reading. We have Paddington coming up in a little over a week's time, and that is already quite full, but you know, we can try and squeeze more people in if we can. And then we've got Edinburgh as well coming up in April. We also run Azure courses as well, as you can see here, but I will skip over that bit. Not skipping. Come on, skip. There we go. Grab that for me, Sean, will you? Good old POE. So yes. So reach out to the team. There's a lot of questions going on. We've tried to answer as many as we can. It's possible we've missed some with the back and forth of grabbing answers for you. So the team are all on hand to help. Please reach out. We want to have great engagements with you guys to help you really take advantage of the Copilot opportunity. Fabulous. Thanks very much.